Welcome to Grade 1 View, the podcast for future CRNAs by future CRNAs, a partnership between AANA and Beyond the Mask.
Whether you're about to graduate from a nurse anesthesia program, trying to get accepted to nursing school, or you're somewhere in between,
this podcast is a resource and safe space for all things nurse anesthesia.
We're your Season 2 host team. I'm Levi Davis.
I'm Kelsey Muir.
I'm Mackenzie Lane.
And I'm Nicholas Alexander. So grab your Mac or your Miller, turn up your flows, and get ready, because this is Grade 1 View.
Welcome back to Grade 1 View. This is Kelsey along with Mackenzie. And tonight we are joined by Dr. Bibi Adenouzi to discuss the power of women in leadership within the nurse anesthesia profession and beyond. So for those that don't know, March 8th is actually International Women's Day. And we felt it was important to take this opportunity to reflect on the impact, influence, and resilience of women who are shaping healthcare at every level.
In this episode, we're diving into what it truly means to lead with confidence, authenticity, and purpose, specifically as women navigating clinical practice, academia, advocacy, and executive spaces. And Dr. Adenouzi is the perfect guest to chat with us today, as she brings with her a wealth of experience as a clinician, educator, mentor, and leader within the nurse anesthesia community. She serves as the chair and program administrator of Thomas Jefferson University's Nurse Anesthesia Program and is a board member of the American Association of Nurse Anesthesiology, helping shape the future of the profession at both academic and national levels. She is also the founder of the Nigerian American Nurse Anesthetist Association and was recently inducted as a fellow of the American Academy of Nursing, one of the highest honors in nursing, recognizing her significant impact on healthcare and leadership. Welcome, Dr. Adenouzi, and thank you so much for being here with us tonight.
Thank you so much, Mackenzie and Kelsey, for having me. I'm happy to be joining you tonight.
We're so excited. Thank you. For those that don't know, a little bit of background, my dad is actually very close with Bibi, so I'm extra excited to have her on tonight. So anyway, to kind of kick things off, our first question for you is, can you just share a little bit about your journey into nurse anesthesia and what initially inspired you to pursue leadership?
Thank you so much, Kelsey. That's a great question. So my journey is not a typical straight journey, just like everybody else. We all have a story. So my initial background, I was a clinical chemist. Used to work for SmithKline Beecham. And I was dating my husband, who was already in the nursing track. And he'll be like, 3 days he's done. I'm like, what do you mean you're done? I'm still going 5 days a week. So with that, I was supposed to be pre-med, going to medical school. I got the admission and I turned it down. And many of you, if you know African parent, they almost lost their mind. Like, what do you mean? You're going to nursing? Why? Okay, you're on your own. I'm like, yes, I'm fine. Meanwhile, I've seen, I initially was introduced through that nursing path and with my aunt as well, who is a leader in the Philadelphia area. So that's how I became a nurse. Then I shadowed someone, a medical, still thinking, which way should I go? And when I shadowed him and he was there, we were there for about 12 hours. And I went home and he's like, oh, when you come back tomorrow, I'll be here. I'm like, but you'll be here? Yeah. All right.
I took that off the table fast.
I'm like, okay, that's not for me. I want to be able to enjoy my family, my kids, spend time with them. And now I'm not. Then I saw someone during that shadowing. There was a nurse anesthetist. I asked a little bit about, oh, what do you do? How? And that was it. From there, went back, got my associate degree first at Delaware County Community College.
Wow.
Because I already had a bachelor's and there was no bridge program at that point. So after my associate, then I thought, oh, I'm ready. Then they're like, oh, no, you have to have a BSN to go into anesthesia school. I'm like, okay, you won't even take my BSc? No. So I had to enroll back in school and get my BSN. And then I applied to nurse anesthesia program, got my master's degree. Right from school, my program director was like, you know how to explain things to other people. My program director was Dr. Kathy Morse. And she's like, I want you to teach. I'm like, oh, no, that's not for me. I just love to explain things to people. That's it. I cannot do your job. And she's like, okay. Started bringing me, I'm like, I just literally graduated. We want me to teach. And that was it. Went back, got my MSN. Then she's like, I know you love school, BB. Why don't you get your doctorate? I'm like, oh God. And she was a military person. They know how to rope you in. I went back, got my PhD, and still teaching. And she, oh, there's this leadership position. I'm like, oh no, 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 that's not for me. I just want to help people. I just want to do this and move on, enjoy my life. And here I am today, not only as program director, as chair of nurse anesthesia program, have two locations in Pennsylvania and starting on the third location because of the workforce and trying to create pipeline for so many, like so many wannabe CRNAs, and we still have the room to help create that pipeline. So that was just a brief synopsis of my journey into nurse anesthesiology.
So you would say it almost sounds like you were pushed into it, forced into it by Dr. Morris a little bit, would you say?
I will kind of like said yes, but ultimately, like I said, sometimes you don't realize your passion. Sometimes you don't realize what you truly know because people outside can see that through you, things that you cannot even see. I didn't know, like I know many of my classmates gravitated towards me because the way I explain things to them. To me, it just comes naturally. I didn't put any one and two to it to like, oh, to be a director. Oh no, I don't want your headache. But slowly I discover my calling, helping people, which can be achieved through program director, being there for the student, helping them, being their voice, giving them voices, especially in terms of some preceptor that might be difficult to deal with, and just letting them know that I got your back. If you're doing the right thing, I'm here for you.
That is so inspiring. I'm awestruck. That is such a beautiful journey and so inspiring, and just your drive to help people and you identifying that and it kind of you being open and acknowledging that's what you wanted to do. It led you to nurse anesthesia. And now you're here and you're getting to serve as a program director amongst many other roles and changing a lot of lives. I love that. I love that. You had touched on this a little bit, this next question, I think, with your program director. But who are some of the other women leaders that have influenced you most over the course of your journey?
Like I say, my aunt, Dr. Rita Adeniran, she used to be the international director for University of Penn. I would say my program director, Dr. Kathy Morse. She's a military person. She's all like, come on, we gotta go, come on. Dr. Betty Weigast, that's another mentor, strong women. I would say also Dr. Jody Schlacker. Those are great women out there that are helping. And also Dr. Dawn Bent. She's the program director at University of
Penn.
Penn. I'll say Dr. Sonia Moore. She is the lead director and Case Western program director as well. And many, many, many more. Erin Foley, Myra Branch, Deborah Diaz. There's so many. Janet Setner. I mean, countless. You can just keep going, going, and going. But everyone, one thing I appreciate in these women, they're strong leaders. They keep going. They don't give up. They look for gaps. They look for opportunities where people see chaos. They try to bridge those gaps, bringing innovation and ways to make things better for our profession and for us as nurses.
Absolutely. And there's such a unity amongst those women too, and just a sense of teamwork, I think. So I've had the pleasure of meeting Dr. Diaz a few times. She's fabulous. She's so fun and funny. She's great.
I know. Well, actually, it's interesting too. Dr. Bent was someone we were actually also potentially would like to have on our podcast. So, Dr. Bent, if you're out here listening, reach out, please. But yeah, she's also great, bent on education. I know she has a podcast herself. So I just love hearing, people's perspectives about who influences them the most, because I feel like you really get to know a person based off that. But so I think it's no secret as women, we do face challenges in the workforce. I feel like we're slowly overcoming those, which is great. But what would you say challenges wise that you faced when you kind of started to kind of step into these higher level leadership roles? And how did you navigate those, and kind of what advice you would give to women that are stepping into those same type of roles?
Like you said, with every leadership role, or as you continue the trajectory of leadership, there are going to be challenges. One thing I've learned is to always read the room and look at what are the struggles here? What am I bringing to the table that they don't have on that table yet? How can I make myself approachable and be there? Because no matter what, you're going to feel like all those challenges are there, the struggles are there. So I remember my first job as a program director at a previous school. The student didn't know, like, who is B? What? And other people that know me, like, oh yeah, she's this, she's that. But initially, the student didn't know me, so I have to make myself vulnerable. Like, hey, this is who you see, this is who you get. Feel free to approach me, ask me anything. And with time, when they get to see you for who you are, and they know you're authentic, you're not pretending to be who you're not, then it helps close the gap and reduce the challenges. And I think being truthful too, let people know it's like, hey, if I'm changing something, I'm changing it for this reason. This is what COA wants. We being guided by some standard. This is what the university want. If you have any discrepancy, reach out, ask me. I will tell you why we're doing things. I'm not just going to say, hey, we're doing it. You adult. And I always tell my student, you human being first. Everything else is secondary. And everybody needs to treat you as human being first. We can worry about all the challenges or things that come with the program, but you self-enroll yourself. And that deserves dignity and that deserves respect.
I think that's important because as a woman, I think there is whether this innate sense of kind of compassion, caring that we kind of hold with us. And I think that really translates into leadership in terms of just being able, like you were saying, kind of putting the human first versus putting like the student's label on somebody. So I think to me, I certainly appreciate that as a student because man, you're always told like school needs to be your life, school needs to be your life. But at the end of the day, when your world is kind of crumbling at home, you don't really need somebody to tell you like, hey, you need to be doing X, Y, and Z. You need somebody who's a compassionate leader who's going to help guide you through that. But also, yeah, just understand, I think.
Yeah, and just acknowledging that people are human and that every human, but just the fact that you're human, you deserve dignity and respect. And giving people that, I think, is so huge. I was taking notes as you were saying that. So now I'm like refreshing on my notes. And I also loved what you said about reading the room and then making yourself accessible. And that just, I really feel like lays the groundwork of forming those relationships. And how special is that for you to form those relationships with your students? I know that means the world to them. Kind of bridging over into our next question. And you touched on this a little bit earlier whenever you said about how a woman sometimes can look at a room of chaos and see something in it and kind of have vision on how to tackle that. So along that line, in your perspective, what unique strengths do women specifically bring to leadership in healthcare?
So I would say the strength that comes with being a female in healthcare, that compassionate part of us, the caring. And sometimes it keeps you going because you care so much that you don't even realize. Now I'm beginning to like self reflect, like, okay, I'll wait till I'm so worried about, okay, did the student did they do that? Did my faculty, are they okay? Then I'm like, okay, step back, take a deep breath through. Maybe you need to do the own self reflection and just take a deep breath. Know that everything will be okay. You've done your part and keep going. But it's hard because you care so much that you want to see everybody to be successful. You don't want anyone to fail. Even when I have new faculty, I'm like, okay, what can I do? They're like, you busy. I'm like, don't worry about me being busy. What do you need? How can I support you? I want you to try because I always share, none of us become a director overnight or instructor overnight. It takes guidance, constructive feedback for all of us to get to where we are. And the same way we need to give this to students to encourage them to keep going, or new faculty to say, hey, hang in there, you can do this. We've all been in your shoe. Borrow a page from mine. Don't worry, go home. Even during practice, like when you're putting patients to sleep. I remember one of my great anesthesiology, the first time I had an issue And during a case, and I was always like, BB, you saved the patients. Like, I'm like, no, nothing should have happened. It's like, well, you haven't given enough anesthesia because something will happen. But you know what makes a true anesthesia provider is someone that recognized what the problem was and was able to tackle it. And the patient at the end of the day was successful with being able to walk out of the room. But to me, I'm like, I want just everything to sail smoothly. It's like, no, welcome to the anesthesia world.
I can understand that because I'm very A-type. So of course, like, when they talk about like railroad tracks with your vital signs going across, I get very upset whenever I start to see spikes. So I definitely understand that.
I'm trying to stay away from the type A, but I always say all of us as anesthesia provider, we type A plus, not just the A with A plus, because we all want everything to be perfect. You're so detail oriented. You look at the room, the intuition, like, okay, something is going to be like, come on, calm down. You are the alert all the time, ready to like jump into action. So that's who we are.
I love that.
I love it.
I feel like you've already kind of spoke about some of this as well, but how would you say with established leaders, how could they better mentor and help kind of sponsor that next generation to become leaders themselves?
I recently was having a discussion with one of the women leaders because I'm like, okay, how do we help the next generation to become leaders? And she said, what if we have a leadership academy? I'm like, we have enough on our plate.
I love how she's thinking though. Like that's
We need
exciting.
to mentor them, tell them the do's and don'ts, and let them know, yeah, that might be hiccup on the way. But you need to fly under somebody's wing to get there because none of us would have been here without others helping us. And we need to start identifying leaders. When you see, like I said, I didn't realize the quality in me until my program director was saying it. So when I see something in people now, like be it nurse anesthesia resident or be it a new CRNA, I try to encourage them. I'm like, you can do this. You can you might not think about teaching now. Just volunteer, do same, teach one, and slowly with the word of encouragement and helping them. Because you cannot just do that by just the word of mouth. You have to show them that you care. You have to carry them along and be able to celebrate their wins. And even if there's any hiccup, let them know that's part of life. Let's regroup. Let's keep going. I always tell majority of my residents, I said, life in anesthesia school is peak and valley. Some days you feel like you're in the valley. Don't stay there. The resident who are successful are the one that bounce back and try to climb up the hill. So it's peak and valley. Some days you feel like on top of the world. Before coming to anesthesia school in the ICU, you know everything, the balloon pump, the CVHD. You can troubleshoot everything. Then you come to anesthesia school, they're like, civil. You're like, civil what? You're like, I've never heard that before. But then the humility comes, you're right back in the valley, but you got to study, stay consistent, persevere, and your resilience will put you back up the peak.
I think that's, kind of you were already talking about how your director recognized those leadership qualities in you. And that's kind of what you're now kind of passing on, hopefully, to like this next generation. I think it's really hard though, as a student. Obviously, I could speak to this, Mackenzie. I'm sure you can as well. It's when you feel like you don't have any or not a lot of independence yet, because you're obviously still, in training, but feeling like that you could grasp at a leadership role because you just feel like everything you're doing is micromanaged in a way. So it feels that it feels daunting, I feel like at times, to me at least. So I like that when recognizing, and I think more people do need to do that if you recognize those leadership qualities to kind of encourage that because it can be hard.
One humbling thing for me, just this first year of anesthesia school, is I'm our school's anesthesia club president, which has been really exciting. But I learned very quickly, I was like, this is not about what I want necessarily. This is not about my vision. I was like, I've got to hear from the people and I've got to get a consensus on what the people want. And a lot of that is humbling yourself, taking the time to get feedback and to ask for feedback, and then just to sit there and listen and just kind of be in that content for a few days and then moving from there. And that's kind of a big takeaway as far as leadership this year anyways for me, which has been kind of neat. But
That's great. I'm glad that you look at it from that perspective because I always say, like my previous program, I always update my handbook. And so I'm like, you put it in the eval. What's the essence of the eval if we're not going to put it to you? It might not have anything to do with you, but those coming behind you will benefit from it. So I constantly came and went like, oh, it's from the eval. Give me objective eval. And like you said, you have to step back and realize it's not about me. It's about those going through it, the experience, and how you want to make it a better place.
right. And just going back to what you said about simply helping others and showing that compassion. Our next question, I feel like you have really touched on this fabulously, so I'll do a little add-on to it. But what habits or mindset shifts have helped you grow as a leader? And so my add-on to that is, are there any specific moments throughout your career as a CRNA or even before that, or maybe on a mission trip where you had like an epiphany moment or an aha moment where you really felt yourself turning a corner as a leader, and just maybe having a new idea about leadership?
I would say I read a lot and then I'm always in need for knowledge, like in search for knowledge, always looking for something to broaden my horizon. How could I be better in what I'm doing? How could I help those around me? How could I improve? So every day or at the end of that, self reflect, what have I done today? What could I have done differently? And one of the main thing is to be able to acknowledge your strength and your weaknesses and work on how you could help the as human being we all have the pluses and minuses and look for areas where you can improve on, maybe having like evaluation, like a 360 evaluation from people around you, how you could improve. The main thing that I think helped me is active listening. I just stay quiet and listen. And when people like, you're not saying anything, like you the one doing the talking. If I'm talking and you're talking, we won't hear each other. But while you're talking, I'm busy analyzing everything that you're telling me to see how I may be able to help solve the issue or how we can both work collaboratively on how to resolve the issue pending. So listening, you hear a lot. So as a leader, you have to learn how to not react, listen. You're going to hear things that, like, oh my God, that wasn't true. But you cannot show that part. But you have to look for constructive way to give feedback or to bring negative information or things that people are pondering on to let them see it differently. And ultimately, it's like a bell curve shape. You might have 90, 95% at the middle of the distribution. There's still going to be some outlier. But to me, I believe even those outlier, I'll still try to reach out to you. What could we do differently? Or share some suggestion for me. That's something I always do when student brings something. I'm like, okay, I'm listening. How do you think we could solve it? So when they present their solution, then I will sometimes give the legal or the accreditation ramification. This is why we can, and ultimately we'll all be able to. I'm like, okay, let's meet each other and halfway. What do you think?
In the middle.
Right? All right. So that has been really helpful for me, just listening, hearing people out, seeking. I'm not afraid to ask people too above me, or even if I question something like, what do you think? How do you think I should approve it? And I always say it's actually more of a strength than a weakness to be able to reach out and ask. And I always encourage all our residents to don't try to be a cowboy sometimes or cowboy. If you don't know some, ask. Nobody will penalize you for asking, but you'll be penalized for not asking and something happen.
Yeah. I think humility goes a long way. Transitioning now, kind of talking about current SRNAs, how do you feel it is best that they start to develop some skills with leadership while they're still in training?
I would say that's 1000%. One thing that I've introduced in all the program I've been involved with is trying to get the student to have a structured lecture on preceptorship, lecture on leadership quality, skills, communication. That sometimes, especially as a doctorally prepared grad, we need to start doing that. And I always encourage all our residents too. When you start practicing, don't stay just in the CRNA silo. Be part of leadership in your institution. You couldn't be CEO, you can be vice president. We have that locally here in Pennsylvania within the Lehigh Valley network. We have Brian, we have Andrew. They've all walked the walk and the leadership trajectory up to the level of vice president of a health system. So it start slowly, but you have to start encouraging that. You are, as a doctorally prepared grad, that's part of leadership. If you look at the program outcome of all your schools, CCNE, you are being trained to be a leader. And that's why you need to slowly start introducing that into the curriculum, start teaching them, increasing advocacy. I always try to have my student like, hey, if you go into national, you'll not be penalized for not going to clinical, no makeup day, let's go. Because the more you can expose them to all these things, the more they know about the profession and how they can advocate and participate. So usually, like mid-year, I always encourage a student. The PANA Pennsylvania session of nurse anesthetists, I encourage them to attend. And I'm like, I'm role modeling because my resident can see all the layers at the state level, the national level, being the LIC chair for Leadership Identification Committee for ANA, part of Board of Trustee for Pennsylvania Association of Nurse Anesthetists, and Board of Trustee for ANA Foundation. I want them to see me and know and say, hey, you can be me. Let me know, be the student rep for that committee. Let me know how I can support you and slowly encourage them to go from there.
That's huge. What you said about how you let your students know, let me know how I can support you. That goes so far. So far. That's awesome.
Because I think everybody needs support in different ways too. That journey looks different for different people. So I love that because I feel like I would like to step into leadership roles, but I don't always know how to. What are you saying that you're the same? You like to, or
Yeah,
that was like with your journey?
I'm just putting my hands up. I'm
Oh,
right here to carry you along with my wings.
okay. I didn't know if I was like, oh, all right. That's fair. That's very fair. So it is hard. So you need that encouragement sometimes. So it's the little things for people to kind of help encourage you along the way.
Very true.
So kind of to wrap up, our last question of the night for you, BB, is seeing as you serve in academic, national, and organizational leadership roles, you wear many hats, as we have discussed tonight. How do you feel that you're able to prioritize and avoid burnout as a leader? Because I feel like if you're not taking care of yourself, it obviously trickles down. So, what do you do to prioritize yourself?
Absolutely. That's a great question. I love travel. Many people like, BB, where do you find time? Like, say, yes, I do. I might take like a quick Thursday to Sunday vacation somewhere just with me and my husband and just to chill. And often I'm a runner. I love to run. So that is how I get my wellness in. Like when I run, I have this huge surge of endorphin that I feel rejuvenated. And believe it or not, I still have my CRNA classmate that we go on vacation together.
Oh, I love that.
I do that. And I have my collection of friends, and all of them I know, they now doctoral, they all MSM prepare. But hanging around me, I've rubbed a little off them. They all have their doctorate degree now. So we have time that we have only girls' night out. So stuff like that I do, and just to help dissociate myself from work and just take care of me. Or sometimes we go for like a massage, a wellness, music. And I love to sing and dance. I know people is like, you have time? Yes, I do. So, so I take time out. I know when to like time out enough. Let me shut everything, reset, and go from there. And also with the medical mission, that's one area, like I said, is very fulfilling for me. I'm sure your dad can say a lot about that. Is one of the great CRNA that I've known. We were talking last week and it's like, oh, I'm going to retire. I'm like, oh, you're like, why did you do that? Everybody does that. I'm like, we know you, Ryan. You're not going to retire. You're out there going to be helping different community and stuff like that. For us that do medical surgical mission, it's fulfilling when we go, even though it seems like we're working hard, but you just feel like you've accomplished something. So
Yeah.
those are my stuff that I do outside just my routine and many hats that I wear.
I love that. Well, my dad has actually said, he said, working in, your what the hospital here is very different than a lot of the mission trip work. You could be working like 60 to 70 hour, weeks over there doing medical missions. And he said you somehow still manage to have energy. So it's unlike anything it sounds like we're going to experience here. So that's why I'm definitely looking forward to hopefully having that opportunity.
Absolutely. I will be happy. It will be an honor to have you. My son went with us last year. I'm not sure if your dad
Wow.
shared that with you. He's an undergrad at University of Pittsburgh. So he went with, it was our board runner. So with us.
Oh, nice.
And and we did a research study too that he participated and helped us with our qualitative interview to really see if we go in there to help. Does that really, are we truly helping? And I'm, like I said, I believe so much in feedback. Like, okay, self assessment. We thought we're doing good. Are we truly doing good? Let's assess ourselves and go from there. But overall, it's a great feeling.
Oh, I love that. Well, any last wise words that you have for the women, not actually just the women, we'll include the men this time, for anybody, any SRNA that's looking to step into leadership roles, what would be your last kind of words of wisdom for them out there who are listening?
Thank you. I would say, first of all, identify a mentor. And when I even say mentor, it has to be maybe more than one mentors, one for career advancement, one for spiritual advancement, one for wellness, because we all bring different qualities to the table. But being able to know who to call goes a long way. And let them help you through that trajectory of leadership and guide you, especially as CRNAs in academia. Many of us in academia is just like, oh, you're good, you can do this, you become a leader without having like the guide or the procedure protocol to guide you. But with you having a mentor, they can guide you and say, hey, I've walked this path before, go this way. So instead of taking one step, you might be able to take two or three steps at once because someone is going to guide you and prevent you from making the same error they've made. I know me, Dawn, which I will tell Dr. Bent that she's next. And Dr. Flanagan, we used to have a faculty mentorship program that we did just to help mentor CRNAs that want to go in academia and help them what to look for, how to get their CV, how to be ready for program director role, how to advocate and all that. So having someone to help you to support you and form collaboration and partnership. You don't have to do it alone. Collaboration and partnership, like I said, many of the program directors, we know each other. Some of us, we publish papers together. I know who to call when I need something like, hey, Dr. Moore, I need this. I know who to call. If I'm looking for a CRNA that is a dean, I'll call FIU. Hey, Dr. George, what's going on? So you have to make that connection. And with me, I make a lot of friends. So my husband is like, oh, everybody's your friend. I'm like, yeah, because you never know. We all need each other and we have to support each other. So I would say anyone looking into the leadership role, reach out, ask one of us. If we don't know or we might not have the answer to what you need, I might know someone who knows. And that is how you can navigate the leadership role.
I can definitely say that you have a lot of friends. I saw you
I
at
see why.
mid-year. At mid-year last year. I mean, honestly, there was like a gaggle of people around her, like all saying hi. So meanwhile, I'm like, hi, I know you in the back. But anyway,
Thank you.
well, I can't even thank you enough, Dr. Adenuzzi, for sharing your time and wisdom with us today. And to our listeners, and like I said, not just the women tonight, we hope this conversation inspires you to lead boldly, use your voice intentionally, and step into roles where you can make an impact. And sometimes that is even before you feel fully ready. So thank you for joining us for another episode of Grade One View. Don't forget to follow, subscribe, and share with us at Grade One View Podcast on Instagram. And please reach out and let us know who inspires you to lead. Until next time, we'll see you then.